Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome back to VALORANT news and welcome back to the Rostermania chaos that we presently have. The teams are confirmed for partnership next season, but the rosters are far from confirmed. The OpTic team, of course, will be searching for their offers, potentially some moves to different regions as well. Yay is considering moving to EMEA and not just to the North American rosters that probably will all want his services. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I'd greatly appreciate it. It really helps out the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing another several hundred subs yesterday. Let's keep on going on that trend. Firstly, Sentinels rap, baby. We're back in business. We actually made it into the Sentinels VALORANT franchising type video yesterday. Thought that was pretty cool. Thanks for the support over the last several months. Let's dive then into Rostermania. So TSM confirmed that they will actually not be leaving VALORANT. They did not get a spot next season in the franchising league. That was a surprise to some, not a surprise to others, but they will continue to field their competitive team. A lot of organizations have not yet decided and made their mind up what they're going to do. Because, I mean, TSM have said, yeah, look, they're going to commit to another season. They're going to field a challenger team. I think Shopify Rebellion maybe said the same thing. But, of course, everyone can change their mind over time as to whether they feel like it's actually worth it competing in the Tier 2 circuits. Some big organizations might not feel that, but some orgs might feel like, well, okay, look, if we build the best roster, we can win Ascension and qualify anyway for the circuit next season, even if they didn't select us as partners. So TSM will be grinding through the Tier 2 scene, but they will not be grinding through with the same roster. And of course, this is key. Every team, I think, is going to change. And I mean, we'll see some examples of that here in just a couple of seconds. Now, firstly, two of the players on TSM are going to be gone. Rossi is gone. Corey is gone as well. Both of those two players they're planning to get rid of. They've allowed those players to explore their options. I kind of, you know, Rossi's certainly not going to get into Tier 1. Like, there's maybe a chance that Corey does. Who really knows? But look, if there's 25 North American players on those 5 North American teams, that is a very tough order to get into, and there are so many big names that will be trying to eye out those spots. And of course, there are players already on those rosters that are qualified that obviously will be trying to stay, and we'll see that here in a second. Now, the guard, they didn't make it. They are all restricted free agents. A lot of the guard guys, Sire, Player, and co, they're looking for offers. Trent, I don't know if he said anything quite as of yet. I don't know what Trent's plan is, because I think the guard probably will stick around the Tier 2 scene as well. But I mean, look, we'll have to see on this story, because there's been so many tweets and stuff that have come out. It's really difficult to say what these teams are going to plan to do. Now, even version 1, a good example here. We will evaluate the Tier 2 format before making any decisions about our future, and we'll support our players in exploring opportunities to play on partner teams. So, same thing for version 1. Their players are restricted free agents. If they want to go to a proper team, they've got to get bought out from version 1. The likes of Zellsis will be a great example in a second. Xander as well. I believe Xander said on stream a couple of months ago now, at least a month ago, that his understanding was if version 1 don't get franchising, don't get partners, then they will go in Tier 2. But from what the organization is saying, they haven't made up their mind on this yet. And I think many orgs will be in the same position. They will try and sell their current crop of players. If they can sell some of them, they will. If they can't, then they'll say, okay, well, look, do we just run it back next season, given we've got the players under contract, or what exactly is the plan? So many orgs will have to make their mind up. And, well, speaking of version 1, Zellsis is obviously a key player of note here. He was on Sentinels. He goes back to version 1 because he got recalled with the hope, I think, the version 1 were going to get in. They didn't get in, and now Zellsis is a restricted free agent, right? Can play all roles, and who's going to try and get Zellsis? Will Sentinels pick him back up? That is a realistic possibility that they go back into Zellsis and get him. I think that he's certainly going to be on a Tier 1 team somewhere next season. Which organization gets him, who knows? Sentinels probably, like, he'll want to go there if he can, and they'll probably want him if he is available, as he is. So we'll see on that one, but like, there's so many options out there that you can't guarantee anything right now, even if something on paper makes a fair bit of sense. Xander, for example, are another good example. With version 1 being denied, they've allowed me to explore my options. So many tweets coming out like this from practically every player in the world. Even cNed, of course, also revealed he's a free agent looking for offers. And that's one of the key things here. Our understanding is teams from certain regions have to field 3 players at least from that particular region. And that's kind of it, right? So if you are a European team, you have to field 3 players from your region, but you can get 2 in from elsewhere. So this is why players like Xander or even Yay might consider moves outside of their own region, which could create some powerhouse teams, and also means that these guys are going to get big offers, right? Maybe Yay, as we'll see in a second, wants to stay in North America and actually play in one of those teams over there, but by opening himself up to offers from other teams, like, you know, he can create a serious bidding war, which I'm sure there will be for him. Now, T1, they of course got into the Korean League, or the Pacific League as it is now known, and I know there was was some kind of people hoping that maybe Steel, having still been part of the roster, he was on like the Duolingo, right, learning how to speak Korean and stuff, was actually going to still be part of the team, was going to go over there to Korea and play with the roster and be their IGL. But apparently they might not be doing that. George Geddes reckons that Steel and Thwyfo are both going to go, and they're going to keep their Korean core that they built over the last few months or so. So that's kind of sad if that's the case. But I mean, yeah, the Duolingo lessons seemingly didn't pay off for Steel. But look, of course, we don't really know what's going to happen here, just because Thwyfo says, Source, trust me, bro. So George hasn't got anything wrong so far this Rostermania. I don't imagine he's got this wrong either, because often the players will tweet this stuff despite the fact that either they know or they don't know yet that they're getting dropped or whatever it is. But yeah, often the pros will tweet this even if it actually is true. They just don't want to reveal it to the public as of yet. So we'll stay tuned for that one. But yeah, seemingly Steel and Thwyfo gone from T1. This, of course, could be a topic for an entire video on its own, but there's so much to discuss that we've got to move on. Now, let's talk about the OpTic stuff then. So firstly, Chet, of course, the coach from the team, he's now looking for opportunities elsewhere. I wouldn't be surprised if a little bit of a core of the OpTic team ends up somewhere. We talked yesterday that Victor crashes. They're kind of a team of two. Like, you know, Chet might go with them somewhere. He might go with Yay somewhere. He might go with FNS somewhere. Who knows? But I'd be surprised if Chet ends up on a team that isn't formed with any of the OpTic guys. Like, I'm sure discussions are already taking place, and it's absolute madness behind the scenes. So yeah, Chet will get a spot somewhere, I'm sure about it. Now, let's talk Marved. Firstly, FNS real quick. He says, yes, a restricted free agent, just like all the other guys. Might be an interesting spot, actually, for FNS, even as Yay says in the replies, Vouch, true leader. He lets us take the spotlight because he cares about others. If he were to truly unleash, he could win everything all the time. So, I mean, yeah, where will FNS go? Will he get the offers that the other guys are getting, or will other organizations think, you know what, FNS, good player, but, you know, I want to keep my IGL if I'm a general manager, let's just say. So that's an interesting question they will have to consider as well. Now, let's talk Marved, because this to me is one of the most interesting storylines here. Everyone on OpTic pretty much now has done a free agent tweet. FNS has done it, Chet has done it, Yay has done it, we'll see in a second. Victor and Crashes have also said that. Marved has not said quite the same thing. He says, any teams want me, and then he says, for this LAN in Toronto, and then he goes on to say afterwards, would you support me in full-time streaming? So this does raise a question, especially because a few weeks ago now, during the early part of Champions, Shroud and others mentioned the allegations with Marved's kind of match-fixing drama a couple of years ago in Counter-Strike, and was mentioning the possibility that Marved would not be allowed into franchising, right? And if OpTic were to get in, they would have to get rid of him and get another player instead. Now, Marved, of course, a fantastic player, especially for this particular lineup, and he hasn't done a clear restricted free agent looking for a team type tweet as the other guys have done, and now he's saying this, which makes me think at least that there is some validity to the idea that organizations, for whatever reason, we might well speculate, won't give Marved a spot next season, and therefore his opportunities are effectively non-existent for getting back into the league. Either this is an agreement between teams to do this, or whether like this was something that was always going to happen, whether Marved knows about this for quite some time before the event even began, like even like what Yay said a while ago, that interesting times are happening after champs, like indeed that is the case. So what do you guys think about this? Will Marved get on a team, or is he actually like aligning with the fact that yes, Marved is not going to be getting on a spot next year because of these match-fixing allegations from a few years ago that are now coming back to bite him when the scene gets serious and franchising comes around? Now this from Yay, like kind of another tweet along the lines of what the OpTic guys have done, nothing like this from Marved as of yet. With the recent news that OpTic were denied, I've been allowed to explore new opportunities as a restricted free agent. I am open to all partnership teams in both North America and EMEA, right? So this is pretty interesting that Yay is saying outright that yes, all of these North American teams I'm interested, but also EMEA, I'm down to go there as well. So this is where things get pretty spicy, and even Zellsis tweets this out, Yay running away from Cloud9, 100T, SEN, NRG, and EG, right? So maybe he doesn't want to be part of them. Now, look, my guess is he ends up on one of these teams. I think maybe it's kind of a bidding war type thing that Yay is going for, but I mean, it definitely creates an interesting environment, right? Because Yay, known right now as one of the best, if not the best player in the entire game, especially in the current meta we have, and he's open to all the North American teams. I guess also like the Brazilian teams is also possible, right? Latin American as well, but it's more than likely he'll go to one of these rosters. I do wonder what happens with 100 Thieves, just out of interest, because 100T, of course, they tried to get TenZ before, they didn't get him, he went to Sentinels. So is there a world in which 100T say, well, look, we can't miss out on two players? Like, when Yay is a free agent as he is, like, you've got to consider it. And 100T have done this in many esports before as well. When there's a big name player on the market, they go and get them. Now, of course, it's not going to be so easy to go and get them here, because Yay is going to be open to offers from everywhere. But yeah, I'd keep my eyes on 100T here, because they definitely have the money and the ability to make some serious moves. Even, well, NRG Som, though, he doesn't reckon it's quite so clear clear that he's going to still have his spot next season, as he says, day one of still having my job until El Diablo takes it. Still waiting, to be honest. So, I mean, yeah, maybe NRG as well is a possibility. And a couple of other things here before we close out the video. Firstly, this real quick, as Victor says, of course, unrestricted free agent with Crashies. Now, contact Derek for inquiries. Now, the CEO and founder of DRX comes out in the replies and says looking for a job in Korea. So this is really raising the question, right, that I think the Korean team DRX will have to have at least, like 3 players from that region, but they could have 2 players from outside that region. So maybe there's a world in which if Victor and Crashies are a team of 2, then they could go even out there. So I think we will see some interesting stuff like that with players from various regions going to different regions if organizations particularly want them. Now, would it work with Victor and Crashies going out to DRX in Korea? Who knows? But maybe if that's a valid offer on the table for them, then it's at least one worth considering, depending on what else is on the market, because these guys will have offers, but of course they've got to decide to some degree what their best offer is, especially because they're unrestricted and they can go where they want and don't have to have a buyout in play, which is also rather key when you're an organization looking to pick someone up. If you don't have to pay a buyout for them, that makes them, of course, a fair bit more attractive. But it's very clear now that it's all done and dusted on the OpTic side that surely they're not going to stay together after all this. And as FNZ says, good luck to all my ex-teammates. And yeah, just to mention here, these are the Valorant teams for next year, and some of the storylines we may well have lost, but also some of the storylines that we may have gained over time. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit the like button. Tell the YouTube gods this is a good video, and I was like you should see it as well, and I've grown the competitive Valorant community. Thank you for watching as always. Take care, and I'll see you next time.